So game's tied. Have an inbounds pass here. Triple J tries to post up Sengun. Gets the pass. Foul. If you notice in this game, they're going to try to go after Sengun during the stretch when the game's tied. Try to get a post up here. Triple J just isn't strong enough to move Sengun. That's a great defensive sequence there. Forces an air ball hook shot. Coach Silas likes to have his bigs trail a little bit in transition. As you can see here, he always wants them to end up at the 3-point line. And if they're not a shooting threat, what they can be used for is screening. And Alperen always does a good job of recognizing his position on the court, using his body to create advantages for his teammates. So just by doing this little slip screen here that he does, he actually creates a advantageous switch for Josh Christopher. So once he kind of sets that real quick screen, in transition there, what you create is a little bit of confusion, and this is kind of Coach Silas' transition offense. This is what they want. You get Alperen cutting to the basket there, takes away Brandon Clark. You have a big there that's on a mismatch with a guard. He doesn't feel natural playing on the 3-point line, playing those shooters up close like that. So you see how Triple J's real sank in the post there. And Josh does a good job of using his body and doing this handoff with Garrison here. And just by Josh being able to use his body, the fact that Alperen was able to take Brandon Clark away down and pin him in the post, and you get a big there on a shooter, can't close that gap fast enough. That's an open bucket. Just smart plays. You're going to notice they're going to try to pick on LP throughout the time that he's on the court. No help side defense there. Look at Eric Gordon. Let's go back and look at what happened there. So this is where when your guy gets beat like that, really puts you in a bind there. I think the fact that Triple J is a great shooter, but Alperen could have been a little more aggressive. Josh Christopher maybe could have anticipated that, but I think he was just focused on his man, just young guy plays. And both of them get split. That's why Eric Gordon looks like, what? Notice how Alperen sprints down the court, tries to get good position early on a smaller player. This is a sign of respect. When Triple J got a front, Alperen Sengun, that's telling you something, man. When you got a person that plays your position, essentially fronting you, that means you're a monster in the post. Look at that. If you're watching the game, you probably missed what Alp just did right there. Let's go back and watch the whole sequence. He gets fronted by Triple J in the post. Comes off. Now, there is nothing involving him right now. Most young guys are going to stand there idly. Check out the IQ. You see Bane's position right there? Bane is in no position to fight over his screen. And you have Eric Gordon kind of outflanking him. And once again, when you have Triple J as a big, bigs aren't comfortable coming up on the perimeter and closing out or eating up the space between shooters. And just look at this. Initiating offense from the big position. Screen. That's a wrap. Look at this. Look at the space. Once again, in a 5-out offense, you don't really have to be a great shooter. You need great shooters on the team, but the big doesn't have to be a great shooter. Just by having IQ and being able to screen on the perimeter creates so many disadvantages. Look how wide open EG is. This is a layup for him. Splash. Okay, so when you have LP at the top of the key right here, this is where I expect he's going to be running a lot of our offense. Not really out of the post as much, but in a 5-out, and once again, look at that, the spacing, there's nobody in the paint. The reason Coach Silas loves 5 out is because it kind of creates an advantage for those guards to be able to get their feet in the paint with the big man being in a bind. As we've seen previously, Triple J is not a great perimeter defender as it relates to eating up the space for shooters. I mean, he can switch out and, guard one-on-one pretty good, but as far as being able to come off screens and be able to eat up that space so the shooter doesn't get a shot off, he's not the best at doing that. And that's what you bank on those bigs not being able to do. Even though a big is a great defender, it's still uncomfortable for them to start so up close to the shooter. So you can see just by running this action, so Alp's there in the screening position. He could slip, he could stay for the screen, they could rescreen. So he slips there, and now he has an advantage where he's on a smaller player. And you see how he kind of puts his arm around Bane, so it's kind of holding, but it kind of keeps him from trying to fight over it. Real veteran move, man. I love this kid. So now you have a mismatch on both sides, EG on Triple J and Alp there in the post. And even if EG can throw up a shot, Alp's in great rebounding position. And look at this. Once again, IQ, guys. Sees his guard driving. He just uses his body to create a natural screen. And with this, both defenders are in a bad position to defend the drive. And what ends up happening, because Alp's just standing there, forces a foul. Smart plays. Game is still close. Look at Alp. That's not stuff rookies do. Forces another foul on Triple J. See what happens there? Hustle. He gets beat on the box out, loose ball, fight for it. Just being physical. Look at him flex a little bit. Okay. Yeah, he's just gassing now. Ref ain't trying to hear that. 5 fouls, 8 points. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a black version of Alperen when it comes to fouling. They foul at a crazy rate. So just by being smart, Alp then got this kid out the game. So now it's Clark's turn to guard him. Tries to make a move there, nothing going. Look at that pump fake, dunk, easy. Look how he flashes. This stretch of game, man, he just took over on both sides of the court. They can't do nothing with him. Dominating as a 19-year-old. Alp's still out there. I want you to notice who's back in now. You got the starters. You're going to notice they're going to try to pick on Alp again. Because they always think that's the advantage. Try to get a screen. Get Ja on the slow center. And so you see Steven Adams set the screen here. You get Ja attacking Alp. Keeps his body parallel to the ball handler. Active hands, forces a bad shot. Teammates got to help him out. Once your big is on the guard, man, y'all got to box out. I got to box out. But good defensive stance on an elite ball handler right there. Okay, 5 out right here. Once again, big man at the top of the key. This is Coach Silas's offense being ran. Get an Eric Gordon screen. Garrison Matthews coming off flying. Once again, even though your big is not a shooter, the other bigs aren't comfortable on the perimeter. Look how deep Steven Adams is dropping on Garrison Matthews. And with a solid screen by the Alp there, that's a solid screen. Then if the defender is able to fight over the screen, you naturally go into a pick and roll. And that's part of the offense. And Garrison's doing a good job. And Alp's high IQ is able to do this. A lot of times this was not being done by some of our starters because they allowed a lot of possessions to devolve into isolation. You get the cross-court pass. Pick and roll is off. Then Alp resettles in the post. Obviously, I don't think he's gonna. Okay, a little turnaround jumper, gets fouled. That's not in his bag right now, but it's coming. It's coming. Felt the defender's hand on him. Look at this IQ. That's stuff Chris Paul and them do. Just taking over the game, man. Baller. 6-point lead. It was tied when we came in. Our bench is still playing, and Memphis' starters are the ones going against our bench. So they get the ball. Memphis tries to go tempo. Once again, you're going to see they're going to try to pick on Alp, run the screen off. Now, this is a hard thing to guard. See, Josh is kind of gets washed on the screen here. I mean, that's Steven Adams, like running into a wall. Once he starts cutting, Ja gets downhill so fast. So Alp has to really, he's in no man's land right here. And I think one of the things I loved about him, he has this natural gift of playing the pick and roll where he stunts the ball handler and then tries to recover. But that's Ja Morant. Ja did beat him there, but got lucky. That would have been a layup. I'm not going to cap. 5-out principles again. You get this cut here from Kenyon. Alp setting the screen. You're going to see Kenyon cut through. You get a screen set there. See, he wants to give it to Eric over there. That's not working. So nothing's happening right now. Reset. Wash of, look at Ja Morant is way out of position. Look at this screen. Now you get the screen here. Same action as last time, but Alp literally is taking out 2 people. And this is where I want Josh to really grow. This is what I wanted to see in Summer League. And he still has that tunnel vision. I know he scores here, but that's a hard bucket. Look how wide open Garrison Matthews is because Ja Morant's out of position. Like, whip that ball right now. And look at Alp, man. IQ. He's setting another screen for the recovery on Ja Morant just to give his man another shot. That's not something you can coach. This is why the kid was an MVP. Josh misses that, goes into an isolation, scores. I don't like that shot. He made it. That's great. I don't like that shot, but that's something that he's going to have to grow and see. But, you know, he had Conchar on him. I mean, that's food, so I don't blame him. Once again. But this time, I want you to notice what Eric Gordon does. Communication. Look how Eric Gordon plays this. Alp tells him go, because he already knows what the action is. And Eric Gordon was trying to say, why aren't you going? Alperen told him to go, because he knows what the action is. Guard on guard, just off the switch. Right? Because he knows what they want to do. Now, Bane is wide open. Josh could switch off of this, and he does. Bang. There you go. That's beautiful defense right there. That's beautiful defense, man. Come on. That was initiated by Alperen Sengun. Yeah, Eric Gordon is good for one of those a game. He's mad. Who are you mad at? Okay, let's see. Once again, tries to cut off KJ, didn't work. They run a screen off for Bane. Now Alp's on Bane, and you can see walls him off. Bane gets it back, resets. You're gonna see Alp's gonna overplay him, and he has to understand if you're the big on the perimeter, you can't give a one-way go because the guys down there aren't blocking anything. But see, this is not a good position to be in. This is what gives me hope that Alperen can be an elite center in the NBA. Look at that. That's a volleyball spike. Recovery speed, athleticism, sneaky athleticism, but he is a pretty damn good athlete. Gets beat, spikes it. This is exciting, man. I don't know what you guys are watching. Now this was weird for me. Steven Adams, it's a touchy foul. I think one thing you see about him, he overcommits sometimes. I'm talking about LP. He shouldn't be in a position where he had to recover on a Steven Adams spin move. He should have walled that off better. Yeah, he fouled him. Yeah, that's rookie stuff, but man. Okay, he's back in with the starters now because he's cooking. Coach Alice left him in. Let him cook. Now, I want you to notice how he's trying to orchestrate the offense. He's telling Christian Wood, go up there. You got to stay with your principles. Set the screen. They just stand still. See, that's the issue with the starting five that made it so hard for these guys to score. And if you guys noticed, we always complain, why so much isolation? Because they stood around. And the reason the second unit had it popping with the ball, the cuts, and all that, the second unit embodied Coach Silas's offensive philosophy more than the first team. And when you don't have the movement, it devolves into these isolations. And Alpi makes a great move. He just got to finish that off. But that's a hard guy to post up with Steven Adams. Good job, Morant. Try to attack him. Good active hands. Good contest. Teammates got to put a body. Fell asleep. One thing I'm excited about, instead of Christian Wood standing there, that's going to be Jabari Smith. And he's not going to stand there with his hands up pointing at the moon or whatever he's doing. He's going to go crash the glass. And you would hope that the players are a little bit more cognizant of rebounding and boxing out. Maybe that's Tari in there instead of Garrison Matthews, or it's Tate, or somebody that actually cares about the other aspects of the game aside from shooting. And put a body so we can win some of these defensive possessions where we get an initial stop. GOAT. How the rest of the game goes. The starters kind of picked it up and carried the team to victory, but that stretch, that masterful play that we saw from Alperen Sengun is really what won us the game. Because not only was he able to buy our starters rest time, he was able to have Ja and the other starters from Memphis stay in and not take over the game or for them to even get a lead. When your bench can keep a gap, in fact, add a gap to the point differential between you and the other team while their starters are in, that's usually what makes teams good. So this is an example of the special talent that Alperen Sengun is and why the Houston Rockets are excited to have this guy as one of their cornerstones going forward. I think a lot of the fan base is asleep. You need to go watch film and wake up and recognize what you have. Forget the box scores, just watch the game. And when you add other players with high IQ like Jabari Smith to this team, I think people are going to be surprised at what they see from this team in the next couple of years.